Hello, so this is the story of how I overcome my power of addiction towards alcohol. And I would like to say it started in August of 2024 when my mom passed away. She was pretty much the one that would be going to bat for me, going pretty much doing everything she could to do what she needed to do to make sure I lived a successful, happy life. And when she passed away, that's when my world turned upside down. I decided that, what's the point? I'm just going to start drinking and doing everything. I got put on FML leave from my job. Of course, I was working part time, so I did not get the benefit of being able to be paid. Eventually I decided, hey, I'm ready to return to work. I've struggled enough. I feel like I got stuff done. I feel like I'm ready to go back. Apparently that wasn't the case. I did not. I felt like empty and everything, and my employer did notice and told me, hey, even though you're part-time, you still benefit from therapy from our program that we offer with our job. And I'm like, okay, well, I wish I knew that, but thank you. So I did get a few free therapy sessions, but I'm also on the Medicaid Medicare program due to some disabilities. So I did get those. I felt like it helped. Eventually, I did quit that job because it wasn't giving my ADHD brain the stimuli that I thought it would. So once I quit that job, I kind of just stayed home, did nothing, and just kept doing Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. And it felt like that was giving my brain the stimuli that it needed. And eventually, I started to drink more. And that's something that I felt that helped me grieve because as a child, I was always told in a treatment center that, we don't show emotion. Men don't show emotion. We don't do anything. We just bottle it deep and bury it as deep as we could possibly bury it. And, that was just something implanted in my brain at a young age. And I feel like that is something that is not to tell people, especially when the reason I went to that treatment center was grieving over my best friend who passed away in high school. And I developed a lot of anger issues. I developed a lot of things because the last words I told him before he passed away was, I hate you. And I did not like that, I said that. And especially because a few days later, I was going to apologize. I kind of was just holding a grudge. And the day that I was going to apologize, that night, I found out that he passed away. And that is something that is not good. So back to the when my mom passed away, I, was always at the hospital as much as I could be, and when she finally did pass away, I just, accepted it. I really have a hard time showing emotion due to the ADHD. People with ADHD kind of struggle with that in general. So when she passed away, I did do that jujitsu still and still didn't really have a huge problem with drinking. But eventually it turned much bigger problem because once my dad went back to work and I was still kind of doing a little bit of jujitsu, I was also drinking more than I probably should be. And eventually I did quit jujitsu and just stayed home 24/7 and drank. But I also had another job working at a restaurant, and that is something that would not go well with also drinking and working, you know. Luckily they never knew. I was able to hide it. I was kind of a functioning alcoholic at the time. And eventually I had to quit that job because my drinking was getting out of control. And eventually I came across another channel called Deep Thinker D. And eventually he had some videos of 5 signs you may be an alcoholic. And I'm just like, I'm scrolling past them, like, I don't need to hear this, you know. So I kept scrolling past them, and that's eventually keep seeing those videos. And eventually I'm like, you know what? I'm going to watch it just to see what it says. And stayed through the whole video, and I was able to check off all 5 boxes. And then I went to the next video, and it was him again. And I'm like, okay, let me hear what he has to say. And again, 5 boxes all checked. And 4 or 5 videos of him seeing all those videos and being able to check off all 5 boxes. I'm like, man, I'm a real low life POS. And I decided, all right, Dad, I need you to take me to the hospital. And he's like, why? And I'm like, the doctors are going to tell you because seeing that I'm disabled and you have medical power of attorney, they're going to tell you even if I don't want you to know, because this is kind of different between something that would be if it was something that can be told to you and something that I want to keep private. And that is when he found out, and I went to a detox center. And I went to a detox center, got out in, I think, 10 days. And then I was starting to go to a outpatient program with the same place that I went to detox. And that is something that did not really work. It just didn't really work out. And eventually I started drinking again. And that's when I went up